So good evening and welcome to you all, both here in the Lady Chapel and also to those who are joining us at the 4 o'clock service on the 25th of July. So welcome to all of you. I know some of you will have meditated before, but for others this is a totally new experience, or nearly new experience, and I'll guide you through that. I'll be using my phone and electrical equipment at various points for timings, bells and sounds, so please don't be alarmed. That's all I'm using it for. If you're in the Lady Chapel, you should all have a sprig of lavender. It's something that you can use later in our second meditation. If you're joining us from home or watching online, you could pause the recording now and go and get a house plant, pick some flowers from the garden and use those in the second meditation. But if you have neither, that's okay. You won't necessarily need them. You can use something else. So near the end of the day, our minds may be fizzing with what we've done today, the things we need to do, and be looking forward to what we have planned in the weeks and months to come. So to calm our mind, we'll begin this evening with a short time to meditate on the breath. So sit comfortably in your chairs. Have your eyes gently shut. Your hands resting gently in your lap. And your feet firmly on the ground. Feel the chair supporting you and feel the ground firmly beneath your feet. Without affecting the depth or speed of your breathing, notice your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. The feeling of your breath as it enters your nostrils or mouth and as it leaves your nostrils or mouth. If your mind wanders, and it probably will, return to focusing on your breath. And I will end this meditation with a bell. A few weeks ago, I heard the following advert. I hasten to add here that the words are not mine. It said, "We're messing up the planet. We're messing up real good and filling up our bodies with more pastry than we should. We're messing around with nature. We're messing up the sea. Whoa, whoa, what are we doing?" Well, we're singing about our own impending doom, and you're egging them on with your guitar and everything. Well, let's try this instead. Let's get fixing up the planet. Fix it up real good. Be kinder to our bodies with nature's tasty food. Reduce, reuse, recycle, because there is no planet B. If we're looking after nature, she'll be looking after me. And that's taken me on a very circuitous route of reflection, which I share with you now. I came across the following poem, Hamartraya, by Ralph Waldo Emerson, which explores human life in the context of the earth and is punctuated by an earth song. Bulkley, Hunt, Willard, Hosmer, Merriam, Flint possessed the land which rendered to their toil hay, corn, roots, hemp, flax, apples, wood, and wool. Each of these landlords walked amidst his farm, saying, "'Tis mine, my children's and my name's. How sweet the west wind sounds in my own trees. How graceful climb those shadows on my hill. I fancy these pure waters and the flags know me, as does my dog. We sympathize, and I affirm my actions smack of the soil." Where are these men? Asleep beneath their grounds, and strangers, fond as they, their furrows plough. Earth laughs in flowers, to see her boastful boys, earth proud, proud of the earth which is not theirs, who steer the plough, but cannot steer their feet clear of the grave. They added ridge to valley, brook to pond, and sighed for all that bounded their domain. This suits me for a pasture, that's my park. We must have clay, lime, gravel, granite ledge, and misty lowland where to go for peat. The land is well, lies fairly to the south. 'Tis good when you have crossed the sea and back to find the sit-fast acres where you left them. Ah, the hot owner sees not death, who adds him to his land, a lump of mould the more. Hear what the earth say. Earth song. Mine and yours. Mine, not yours. Earth endures and stars abide, shine down in the old sea. Old are the shores, but where are old men? I who have seen much, such have I never seen. The lawyer's deed ran sure in tale to them and to their heirs, who shall succeed without fail for evermore. Here is the land, shaggy with wood, with its old valley, mound and flood. But the heritors? Fled like the flood's foam, the lawyer and the laws and the kingdoms, clear swept herefrom. They called me theirs, who so controlled me, yet every one wished to stay, and is gone. How am I theirs if they cannot hold me, but I hold them? When I heard the earth song, I was no longer brave. My avarice cooled, like lust in the chill of the grave. Then turn to the Bible, which is full of imagery from nature and reference to nature itself, whether it's the donkey Jesus rode into Jerusalem, the lilies of the field, the sheep being looked after by the shepherd, the animals entering Noah's ark, Jonah and the whale, the seeds falling on stony ground, and I could go on. In the Song of Songs, chapter 2, two lovers describe their other in the beauty of the world around them. She. I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. He. Like a lily among thorns is my darling among the young women. She. Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest is my beloved among the young men. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. Let him lead me to the banquet hall, and let his banner over me be love. Strengthen me with raisins, refresh me with apples, for I am faint with love. His left arm is under my head, and his right arm embraces me. Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and the does of the field, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Listen, my beloved, look, here he comes, leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice. My beloved spoke and said to me, Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. See, the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. Flowers appear on the earth. The season of singing has come. The cooing of doves is heard in our land. The fig tree forms its early fruit, and the blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. He. My dove in the clefts of the rock, in the hiding places on the mountainside, show me your face, let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet, and your face is lovely. Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes, that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom. She. My beloved is mine, and I am his. He browses among the lilies until the day breaks and the shadows flee. Turn, my beloved, and be like a gazelle, or like a young stag on the rugged hills. In Job chapter 37, Job is asked to think more deeply on the wonders of creation. Listen to this, Job. Stop and consider God's wonders. Do you know how God controls the clouds and makes his lightning flash? Do you know how the clouds hang poised, those wonders of him who has perfect knowledge? You who swelter in your clothes when the land lies hushed under the south wind. Can you join him in spreading out the skies, hard as a mirror of cast bronze? And this brought me back to a book I read in my teens, which is Life on Earth by David Attenborough. It enthralled me then and drew me into the wonders of the world around me. And I've picked just a few excerpts that speak of the amazing diversity of life on Earth. Right from the times of the giant horsetails and ferns, insects have been accustomed to visiting the tops of trees to gather spores as food. Pollen was an almost identical diet, and it still remains the most important prize. Bees collect it in great baskets on their thighs and take it back to their hives for immediate consumption or for turning into pollen bread, which is an essential food for their developing young. Some plants, among them species of myrtle, produce two kinds of pollen, one that fertilizes their flowers, and another of a particularly tasty kind that is designed only to be eaten. Other flowers developed a completely new bribe, nectar. The only purpose of this sweet liquid is to please insects so greatly that they become addicted to it and devote all possible time during the flowering season to collecting it. With this, they recruited a whole new regiment of messengers, particularly bees, flies, and butterflies. These prizes of pollen and nectar have to be advertised. The bright colours of flowers make them conspicuous from considerable distances. As the insect approaches, it is provided with markings on the petals which indicate the exact placing of the rewards they seek. Some flowers intensify their colours towards the centre, or introduce another shade altogether. Forget-me-nots, hollyhocks, bindweed. Others are marked with lines and spots like an airfield to show the insect where to land and in which direction to taxi. So foxgloves, violets, and rhododendrons. There are more of these signals than we may realise. Many insects can perceive colours that are invisible to us. If we photograph what seems to be a plain flower with film that is sensitive to ultraviolet light, we can see many more such markings on the petals. The shrew group has produced a variant that seeks its prey entirely underground, the mole. Judging from the structure of its paddle-shaped forelegs and powerful shoulders, it seems that the mole's ancestors were once water-living shrews, and the mole has simply adapted the same sort of actions for moving along its tunnels. Fur underground might be thought to be something of a mechanical handicap, but many moles live in temperate areas and they need fur to keep warm. So it has become very short and without any particular grain, so that it points in all directions and the animal can move forward or backwards along its tight tunnels with equal ease. Eyes are of very little value underground. Even if there were any light to see by, they would easily clog with mud, so they are much reduced in size. Nonetheless, a mole must have some way of finding its prey, and, rather like a tram, it has sense organs at each end. At the front, its main sensor is not its eyes, but its nose, which is an organ of both smell and touch, being covered with many sensory bristles. At the rear, it has a short stumpy tail, also covered with bristles, which make it aware of what is happening behind it. The star-nosed mole of America has an additional device, an elegant rosette of fleshy feelers around its nose, which it can expand or retract. It may simply be a tactile organ, or it may be a means of detecting changes to the chemical content of the air. Most birds safeguard their eggs and young by laboriously building some kind of protection. The woodpecker excavates or enlarges holes in trees. The kingfisher bores into riverbanks, flying at the face with its mandibles slightly parted until it has chipped through a dent for it to create the foothold it needs to work with real speed. The sparrow-sized tailor bird in India sews together the growing leaves of a plant by piercing holes in their margin and tying them with separate knots of plant fibre. This forms an elegant and virtually undetectable cup within which the bird constructs its downy nest. The weaver bird, a member of the sparrow family, tears strips from palm leaves and, hanging upside down, deftly weaves them into a hollow ball, sometimes with a long vertical tube to serve as an entrance. The oven bird lives in an open country in Argentina and Paraguay, where trees are few and much sought after as homes. So it fearlessly uses fence posts and bare branches as sites, and builds out of mud a near impregnable nest the size of a football, which resembles in miniature the oven made by local people. The entrance is large enough to admit a paw or a hand, but a cross wall between the two internal chambers baffles any further plunder, for the hole through it is tucked away out of line of the main entrance. Cave swiftlets in Southeast Asia nest in caves, but since there may not be enough suitable ledges, they construct artificial ones with glutinous spittle, sometimes mixed with a few feathers or rootlets. My final reading before our second meditation is from Meister Eckhart's Book of Secrets. Meister Eckhart was a theologian and philosopher from the 13th century and is now considered a mystic. And he said, "A great teacher once said that the soul becomes what it loves. So pay attention to this and consider well what you love, whether things that delight or inspire, or those that you feel drawn towards. For while there's nothing wrong with any of this, consider when you love that you are becoming what you love, and so love in a way that grows the soul and gentles the mind and graces the world. The rest will take care of itself." In the same way as you focused on the breath in the first meditation, in this meditation we'll be using one of our senses to focus on an aspect of nature. I will be playing several recordings of sounds in nature that I've recorded in different places in the benefice. So here in the Lady Chapel you each have a sprig of lavender, and at home you may have a flower or houseplant, or the picture on screen. I suggest you choose just one of the following to concentrate on, either the sounds of nature, or the fragrance of the flower, or the feel of the flower, or the sight of your flower or plant or picture. I will begin and end the meditation with a bell, and the meditation will last for 12 minutes. So I invite you all to sit comfortably in your chairs. Unless you're using your vision for this meditation, have your eyes gently shut. Your hands resting in your lap, with your flower in hand if you're using your sense of smell or touch, and your feet firmly on the ground. Feel the chair supporting you, and feel the ground firmly beneath your feet. So during this meditation, do just one of the following. Listen to the sounds you can hear in the recording. What can you hear? Or focus on the fragrance of the flower. What can you smell? Feel the flower in your hands. Are there different textures and shapes? Explore the shape and form of your flower or plant or picture, or investigate the items in your picture by sight. We'll now have a time of prayer. This can be silent prayer, spoken prayer, prayer words. Join in as you wish. For those in Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Austria and the Czech Republic who have been affected by the flooding.
My daughter. And this is also known as Trillis. Has worked with people while they've died. Has gently cleaned and loved and nurtured during this difficult time. Lord, support her Christian life and help her look to more. And find peace within her workplace and at home. And I place all those who care, whatever nationality, Lord, race, colour, creed, they're all under your umbrella, in the community, in hospitals, bringing water on places and flooded areas, and for all the employees, and peace. Amen.
In the salt sea and the stirring sky, God is with us. In the brave wind and the rugged land, God is with us. On the steep road and the shifting shore, God is with us. Among strangers and friends, at work and at play, God is with us. In joy and sorrow, fellowship and failure, God is with us. Finally, I leave you with a quotation from the winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. That's Rabindranath Tagore, who said, "The one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has at least started to understand the meaning of life."